Top of the morning to you. You're watching the morning news, and this is the first bulletin of the day on TV3 right here on New Day. This bulletin is coming to you live from the news app here at the Sawikanda. We are live on DSTV channel 279 on the Facebook. It's TV3 Ghana. My name is George Quinning. Top of the stories is out. CLOGSAG workers expected to call off their strike today following deliberations with government over appointment of Samuel Adumbotwe as head of the birth and death registry. Embattled MP for Akutia Ernest Yakumi files an appeal against his contempt of court conviction and a stay of execution of the bench warrant for his arrest. Also coming up this morning, President John Dramani Mahama calls for aggressive cuts in wasteful government spending to strengthen economic stability. We have details of these and many more coming up in the next 20 minutes if you spend your time with me. You can also get interactive with us. We are live on Facebook, TV3 Ghana. Engage us with what you think you want to talk about when the stories air. And now to our very first story. President John Dramani Mahama has called for a strict reduction in wasteful government spending as part of efforts to stabilize the economy. Addressing organized labor in Accra, he emphasized the need for fiscal discipline, warning that excessive expenditure could derail economic recovery and long-term growth.
We can behave like the ostrich and hide our heads in the sand and let the economy crash. But then what effect would it have on Ghanaian households and everybody? Even we ourselves in Office of Government Machinery cut as much of our budget as you like, because we all must make those sacrifices. A certain distrust of the political class has arisen because it's like when everybody else is tightening their belts, the political class is loosening its belts. But I want to assure you that we're all going to tighten our belts, and there will be no wasteful expenditure. It is said that we create and share. And so let's start cooking the meal now so that we can share when we have created. But right now, the meal is not only insufficient, the cooking pot is even leaking. And so I'll just appeal to you that let's temper our demands for this year. And once we get out of the woods, we've set good targets to bring inflation down so that the cost of everything will come down.
Well, let's stay on government business because the government has granted a 10% salary increment for public sector workers on the single spine salary structure. Meanwhile, the National Tripartite Committee has also agreed to a 10% adjustment for the daily minimum wage.
Negotiations between government and organized labor on the base pay spanned for more than 3 hours. Initially, the Finance Minister, Dr. Kaiser Tuforsen, tabled an 8% increase, which prompted organized labor to reduce their demand from 60 to 35%. This led both parties to adopt entrenched positions, resulting in President John Dramani Mahama joining the meeting on Thursday, February 20. President Mahama convinced organized labor to accept a 10% increase and assured them of better days ahead.
I'll just appeal to you that let's temper our demands for this year. And once we get out of the woods, we've set good targets to bring inflation down so that the cost of everything will come down. We've set targets to grow the economy, to make things better. And when the cake is big, then it's bigger, we'll share bigger. We are proposing an independent emoluments committee that would set the incomes for everybody from the president right down to the ordinary laborer. We're prepared to walk this journey with you, but I just appeal to you that let's reach agreement on this one so that we use this year as the year of correction. And then after we've corrected, we'll see how the economy continues to go. Once the economy moves in the direction that we are all hoping for, we all, if we have an independent emoluments committee, maybe if you suggest 35%, I'll support you because it will affect my pay too.
After the president left the meeting, the Sector Minister for Labour, Jobs and Employment, Dr. Rashid Purple, announced the base pay.
the parties negotiating as the Public Services Joint Standing Negotiating Committee have concluded negotiations for the 2025 single spine salary structure base. It is agreed as follows. Terms of agreement: that the base pay on the single spine salary structure has been increased by 10% across board from January 2025 to December 2025.
The Minister of Finance, Dr. Keza Tuforsen, pleaded with organized labor to consider the government's efforts in reviving the economy to meet their needs.
Labor have gone through also a lot, obviously, as a major stakeholder in the Ghanaian economy. It hasn't been easy for all of us. But then again, we recognize that this year is the year that all of us, as stakeholders of the Ghanaian economy, will have to begin the process to sacrifice. But what we can also assure Labour is that we won't let you down.
Later, the Minister of Labour, Jobs and Employment again announced the national daily minimum wage.
In the national daily minimum wage by 10% over the 2024 national daily minimum wage, which translates into a new national daily minimum wage of 19.97 Ghana cedis.
Well, let's just stay on the labor front because work at the ministries and public agencies came to a standstill on Thursday following the nationwide strike by the CLOGSAG.
It's day one of the CLOGSAG strike and the ministries look almost deserted. This is the Ministry of Education, where its reception and visitors lounge are under lock and key. Work had obviously grounded to a halt.
I'm from the UK and I've come to see if I can get a permit to do some work here, possibly be in the education sector. Yeah. So I'm here for that reason only. I wasn't sure that they was on strike. Came from North Legon all the way down here to Accra to find out what exactly is taking place, and I wasn't totally aware. I don't know, so I have to come back or leave this application at the reception maybe, and when things resume back to normal, then they can put it on my behalf.
The situation was no different at the Health, Employment, Agriculture and Gender Ministries. A usually busy environment with human and vehicular traffic was absent on the roads. Even traders flying their trade within the ministries felt the pinch of the strike.
Where dear, yes, Rabbi, Mintimindi, Munkwa Mintimindi, and Tiaban, a higher dimpa, one henna, or my phone, one show, Monombrana, Intimina Binko Duofio, now where dear Rom.
So clearly the traders are concerned about this strike. They want government to really resolve this as soon as possible to ensure that, they even make little money from whatever they do. So if they have to, discard some of these items when they get spoiled, it will really affect them economically. Until government addresses the concerns of CLOGSAG, the strike will continue until a determination is made about the recent appointment of Samuel Adumbotre as the registrar of the Births and Deaths Registry. George Quenin, TV3 News, Ministries, Accra.
In the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar visited some assemblies and reports that persons who walked to several district and municipal assemblies to seek services had to return to their various destinations without being served.
The usual long queues at the Ashanti Regional Office of the Birth and Death Registry was missing on Thursday morning. None of the staff reported to work in compliance with the strike directive from the leadership of CLOGSAG. Applicants had to leave the office without being attended to in a frustrated mood. The busy Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly was empty, even though some national service personnel were at post. The situation was not different at the Asukwa Municipal Assembly, as all CLOGSAG members abstained from work. For those who had come to the assembly for a service, they left without being served. They expect government to intervene and bring the workers back to post.
I came to deliver an official letter to the MC, but apparently they are on strike, and the CLOGSAG strike has really affected. So I wasn't able to officially deliver the letter. So I've been turned away. That's basically it. Yeah. Into the government to actually heal to their plea so that they can resume work, so that I think business could continue. By social welfare, mama. I don't know.
The regional office of the Controller and Accountant General's Department was also not open to the public, even though the director reported to work. The CLOGSAG members say they will continue to stay away from office until their demands are met. This means clients may have to bear the brunt from now until when they decide to resume their services.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Labour, Jobs and Employment, Dr. Rashid Pelpo, is confident that CLOGSAG will call off its strike today following deliberations over their concerns. He spoke with our Labour correspondent, Daniel Opoku in Accra. Take a listen.
Strike, and what are you doing about it, Honorable?
We have reached a certain level of understanding with them. I'm very confident that understanding will prevail, and we will come to a good conclusion about it before the end of tomorrow.
What understanding do you reach with them?
They can withhold the strike, and then their concerns will be addressed.
Are you asking them to call off or something of that sort?
We have requested that they don't go on to strike now, and that issues that are prevailing, that are of concerns to them, should be addressed with us. So eventually there will be understanding and cooperation. Yeah.
So tomorrow, by close of day tomorrow, you'll be done?
Hopefully, yes. Yeah.
Well, away from the Labour front, the Member of Parliament for Akwatia, Ernest Yaokumi, has filed an appeal against his contempt of court conviction by the Koforidua High Court. He's speaking to journalists in Parliament. Deputy Minority Whip Jerry Ahmed Shaib revealed that the MP has also applied for a stay of execution on the bench warrant issued against him pending his appeal at the Supreme Court. Ahmed Shaib further accused the judge of bias.
The Akwatia MP was convicted on Wednesday, February 19, for presenting himself to be sworn in as a Member of Parliament despite an injunction barring him. With Ernest Yaokumi absent, the court withheld sentencing but issued a bench warrant for his arrest. Reacting to the development, Deputy Minority Whip Jerry Ahmed Shaib stated that further legal steps have been taken to challenge the conviction.
Legal steps have been taken. A notice of appeal has been filed against the ruling of the High Court at the Court of Appeal. An application for stay of execution pending appeal has also been filed at the High Court, number 3, Koforidua. Moreover, all the parties to the certiorari and prohibition application, including the judge, His Lordship Justice Emmanuel Senyor Amedehe, who is the respondent to this application before the Supreme Court, have been duly served.
He also accused the presiding judge at the Koforidua High Court, Justice Senyor Amedehe, of bias.
When you are dealing with someone who can now be termed a biased judge and you are not too sure of what he stands to do next, from the chronology of events, I have not in my life as a practitioner seen any of this. That where there are major applications emanating from the Supreme Court, you will still see a judge virtually, pardon my language, rubbishing those applications and would proceed to make rulings. The question any reasonable mind would ask is, what is the interest of the judge in the matter before him?
Jerry Ahmed Shaib further emphasized that the justice system should not be weaponized and called for fairness in applying the law.
Ghana's democracy thrives on fairness, the rule of law, and the principles of justice. The actions taken against Honorable Ernest Yaokumi threaten not only his rights, but also the very foundation of our democratic processes and principles. The judicial system must not be weaponized to serve partisan interest or undermine the will of the people of Akwatia.
Well, if you just tuned in, you are watching the morning news, the first bulletin of the day on TV3. In more news this morning, government says it will engage in dialogue and stakeholder consultation whilst heavy security is deployed to Boko and Walewale Enclave to ease a protracted chieftaincy conflict. Speaking to the media after the first cabinet meeting of the John Dramani Mahama administration, Minister of State responsible for government communication, Phyllis Kwachiofosu, says the security situation in the country can best be described as peaceful.
Cabinet session today, the security chiefs were on hand to provide an update on the steps that have been taken to, as it were, bring the situation under control and ensure that they do not recur. So all that was part of the briefing. If you take out those isolated cases of conflict, which in any event predate the coming into power of this government and have been raging for decades in some instances, the general security situation is safe, and one can be confident that we can go about our activities peacefully as a people.
Do we get a sense as to what approach the government wants to have with the issue on the conflict around that area?
I think that President Mahama himself has indicated that he remains committed to resolving disputes such as the Boku conflict and others that are in various parts of the country. He has spoken about the need to use dialogue and stakeholder engagement as a tool towards achieving lasting peace in these areas, in addition to deploying security measures, deploying intelligence measures to ensure that early warning signals are picked up and they are attended to expeditiously to forestall the outbreak of violence. And where there is some outbreak of violence, we respond rapidly to bring it under control, to preserve life and property.
And now let's delve into health. In a significant milestone for maternal and child health in Ghana, the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the Korea Foundation for International Healthcare, KOFI, is celebrating a decade of successful collaboration. Over the past 10 years, targeted efforts in the Volta and OT regions have resulted in notable improvement in infrastructure and services healthcare.
Maternal health remains a critical issue in developing countries, with the WHO reporting a global maternal mortality rate of about 223 deaths per 100,000 live births in 2020. In Ghana, this rate was approximately 310 in 2022, highlighting the urgent need for significant improvements in healthcare services. The Korea Foundation for International Healthcare (KOFI) project, in collaboration with the Ghana Health Service, was launched in 2013 and focuses on interventions in the Volta and OT regions.
The OT region is one of the deprived regions in Ghana, with about 30% of the population living on the islands. On the islands, a sickle cell lady who was referred to go for healthcare in another facility because of her condition as a sickle cell pregnant woman, which is a very high risk pregnancy, managed to deliver on the island, bled, and because they couldn't get a boat or access to healthcare within inland, the woman bled to death. So through the support of KOFI, when we spoke to them about this challenge, they managed to put a health infrastructure on the islands. And I'm very happy to tell you that no woman has ever died on the island again.
There were issues of challenges with the training, nurses training school in the district, in Hokwe municipality. The nurses training college there that trains midwives. So they also supported them with e-library, developed the infrastructure, which has resulted in the pass rates of the school.
The country director of KOFI Ghana, Bumingyang, emphasized the project's importance.
We supported Ghana Health Service to Volta and OT Regional Health Directorates. We collaborate with them to construct or refurbishment for the health center or CHIPS compound to improve the accessibility of the healthcare system.
The Director General of the Ghana Health Service (GHS), Professor Samuel Kaba Akuria, highlighted the importance of transforming projects into long-term programs and fostering ownership to ensure their sustainability.
As they come in, everybody talks about project, and everybody says KOFI's project. Then we move to the next one, KOICA project, we move, USAID project. That project has beginning and has an end. It is not KOFI's project, it is our program. It is not USAID project, it's our program. We should start thinking of how to own these programs, sustain them, so that even when they are no more available, we should be able to continue with the achievements that we have chalked.
The Sustainable Development Goal Target 3.1 aims to reduce maternal mortality to less than 70 maternal deaths per 100,000 live births by 2030. With Ghana's current rate at 310, improving access to quality maternal health care is crucial for reducing these numbers and ensuring healthy outcomes for mothers and their children. Safa Wahini, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, let's still stay on health because the Ghana Health Service GHS has activated persons with disability
debtors among a mirage of issues hindering their access to quality health care. At a meeting with the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, executives of the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations want their needs prioritized.
Persons with disability accessing healthcare is a challenge in terms of drugs, in terms of our medication, in terms of accessibility. The doctor will talk to your personal assistant rather than you or the nurse. All these issues are the point we want to the Ghana Health to address for us.
With this new move, we trust that we will be brought on board as patients being treated, taking into full cognizance what our disability is and what the requirements are.
The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba, after taking the group through the National Prosthetics and Orthotics Clinics to witness the renovation of the center that produces the orthopedic devices, assured of government's commitment to ensure they have quality and dignified lives.
Some of the concerns we want to start addressing with immediate effect is to help support them have a person in each of our regional and district hospitals so that when they get to the hospital they don't have to be in queues and on long queues. Some of those persons might be able to understand sign language, which they will be able to interpret for them. And one of the important things is not just to help them to go by the queue, is to help them till they leave the hospital. I'll be communicating with this Honorable Minister for Health about this initiative that we want to handle with them so that he can spread it to the rest of the health facilities which are not under the Ghana Health Service.
The National Center, which was recently renovated by the Korean government, has plans of including the production of devices suitable for children.
And now the Northern Regional Hospital is facing an imminent shutdown due to mounting debt of approximately 3.3 million cedis stemming from overpayment made to the hospital by the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA. The hospital is appealing to the government for a waiver to keep the facility running. Here's a report from my colleague, Christopher Amwako.
2018, the National Health Insurance Authority instituted an audit on the Northern Regional Hospital, formerly known as Tamale Central Hospital, spanning January 2014 to May 2017. This was to verify irregularities that led to the overpayment of 4,223,929 Ghana cedis paid to the facility. The irregularities cited by the audit report established secondary tariffs to bill NHIA clients when the facility is credentialed as a primary hospital. It also revealed that during the period under review, NHIA wrongly paid duplicate claims of some 15,876 submitted by the hospital for reimbursement. Medical Superintendent of the hospital, Dr. Bashiru Abdul Majid, has been explaining the situation.
In 2018, National Health Insurance came claiming that we were not supposed to be paid secondary tariffs. Our hospital was not qualified to operate as a regional hospital. So they did an audit, compliance audit, and slapped a penalty amounting to about over 4.2 million on the hospital. A chunk of it was coming from the overpayment from the secondary tariffs.
But how is this affecting the quality of healthcare delivery here at the Northern Regional Hospital?
This hospital is supposed to be the referral center for most of the facilities around. We refer a lot of cases here. We have the largest number of doctors apart from TTH. And because of this situation, operating this hospital is very difficult.
The hospital is appealing to government for a waiver.
But we want government to look into the matter. This matter has really stretched the hospital. Whatever amount they are deducting, it is not going to be easy for this hospital to function.
Dr. Bashir Abdul Majid emphasized that the hospital will be compelled to shut down if government fails to intervene.
At the next payments, if insurance fails to pay us at least 2 months or 3 months, we are likely to have problems. Because right now we don't have anything in our stores to work with.
This situation the hospital has found itself is undoubtedly not only affecting the quality of healthcare delivery at the Northern Regional Hospital, it is also invariably affecting the staff who work here at the hospital. The past 3 to 4 weeks, casual staff of the hospital have threatened to embark on strike should the hospital fail to pay them their 4 months arrears. Christopher Mwako, TV3 News, Tamale.
Well, let's know what you make of this very development and other stories that have been aired so far. Go to Facebook, be active, engage us with your comments and opinions on these stories that have aired so far. On that note, we end the morning news. For more news updates, you'd want to log on to our website, is 3news.com. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Enjoy your morning.
It's the battle